All right. Next. The next thing that we're going to be talking about here as we are covering or unpacking this year's season con is weather. Something that was in my bingo card, something that I was personally expecting. This was one of the highlights of this season con. Sure, there were plenty of other highlights, right? But for me, weather was really something that I wanted to see, right? When we saw weather for the first time in season con, was that 2021, right? When we saw Pyro online, I was mind blown. And we only saw them from far away, those thunderstorms. This time we did not see them from far away. This time we were right in the middle of it, and this was awesome. Now, personally, on the personal level, I love weather. I'm quite passionate about the weather, how clouds are formed, how storms. I love storms. When it's, of course, I love it when I'm indoors, right? When I'm outside, it's not so fun. But I just like to see the rain gets intense, listen to the thunder, look at the lightning. Try to guess where it is based on the hearing and the speed of sound. And these are things that I love. I just love crazy weather, right? When nature is creating mayhem. I think it's fun. Of course, it's not fun if there's a flood or anything, but as long as it remains reasonable, I think it's fun. And so when I saw what you guys are going to see here, I was so happy. So let's have a look here.
But they're not just moving, they're forming naturally in changing shape. They dissipate as they glide on the atmosphere based on wind data.
That is so.
Cumulus alike.
That is so cool. And yeah, because they've got, you guys don't see that when you play the game, right? But the planets actually have a lot of data behind the scenes. They've got data for temperature, they've got data for pressure, they've got data for humidity. And it really makes sense that CIG are using that data to create, these clouds that are forming. And then, when these clouds are forming, if they all amass all together, they are going to condensate. And with that condensation will come rain. And so the more there is, the crazier it's going to get. And let's have a look here. So first there was no clouds, and now
the new cloud shading model come into play.
Yeah, these clouds are coming in.
Enhanced occlusion beneath the cover.
Oh, that's phenomenal, right? Of course, the clouds are going to be blocking the sun rays. As the thicker the cloud layer is, the less sun rays there is, the less luminosity there is, and so it's getting darker and darker. Right? No more static cloud, zero, absolutely.
Emphasizing the sunbeams, how it interact with the.
I love, those sunbeams here, those sunshine. This is where you get to see the how powerful the star engine is.
And seeing the light shafts peer through the layers.
I just love how dramatic those storms are, and just we get to this stage where the weather is starting to get really bad. Right?
See the changes in visibility of the area.
That is awesome. Yeah, we get to see that, and especially you are going to be doing some on land operations, and you get to see the weathers are coming in. At first it was a nice weather, and then oh no, it's starting to get pretty bad. Or you're doing some mining, perhaps, right? And then this is coming.
Previously, we authored static cloud shapes.
Now we don't really see the unfortunately we don't get to see the light precipitation yet. But as it gets heavier, we are going to be seeing it, right?
Its presence has been informed by Genesis data. Oh, and it's not just the cloud volume. It's a weather front.
Yeah, there we go. There is the lightning, right? Which totally makes sense. Now we get to see a little bit of the rain, right? And this is awesome. They got new shaders here for the terrain that gets wet, and the water is going to accumulate a little bit. Now I don't know. Hey Parker, how's it going today? I don't know how far this is going to go, right? I don't, because they got the water tank. They can make water flow. They can make water accumulate because they have this tank already. That's how they make the rivers and the lakes and the sea. What I hope is that there's going to be floods. That's what I want to see. I want to see areas where there's going to be torrents and streams that are going to be generated by that rain. And I want to see floods. I want to see areas that are dangerous to be when it's raining like that. And I don't know if this is something that they can do, but I think that this would be phenomenal if like there's this giant storm that comes in and you just so happen to have built your outpost at the wrong place because you did not look at the terrain, right? Maybe you will want to place your outpost slightly on the heights so that the water can go down and you don't put your water at the bottom of a valley, right? Maybe that's not going to be a good idea.
Vegetation, grass, and the overall environment are responding to the weather.
Oh yeah, rain freezing on the ground if you're on Macrotech or some place where it's like at the edge of freezing point. Absolutely, right?
The system is changing the world around us.
I mean, it's creating puddles, so how big can these puddles be?
Responding to light, reflections, and rain droplets, making it it's getting really ominous and loud in here. I can feel the danger. I think we should let this play out in the game.
This is fantastic, but yeah, you can see it's getting there is the water on the floor. What I love also is that this is actually during the day, right? This is supposed to be daytime, but because the clouds are so thick, you can't see anything because it's night. And here in Taiwan, sometimes we get storms like that where, you know, it's like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. It's supposed to be very bright and shiny. And, you know, outside it looks like it's nighttime because that's how thick the cloud layer is. And we get to see that in the game as well. That's awesome. Now, this is the part that absolutely blew my mind. Like, they got the sound correct. The intensity of the rain, right, is also very impressive too. And then you're gonna see that spire here, that little tower there. You're gonna see what happens. Ah, mind-blowing. So we can hear the thunder, right? Where we can see a little bit of lightning in the far side as we're getting closer to this facility. Yeah, there's that lightning that gets a little bit closer to us here. It starts to be really dangerous out there. Alright, we are at the outpost now. Trying to get onto that Aurora. Might not be a good idea to fly an Aurora in that weather. Right. By the way, did you hear they're going to switch to IFR? If you don't know what IFR is, when it comes to flight, IFR means that you are flying on visuals. You are not flying based on the instruments of your ship. You're just looking at what's around you because you've got no other choice. That is what IFR is. And when you're going to be flying your ships, your instruments here in this kind of weather, they're going to be useless. You're not going to be seeing anything. You're going to have to be extra careful, fly slow, unless you know exactly your altitude and where you're going, right? Is that Zeus here? All right, he's going to take off. You can see how difficult it is, right? He's going to try to take off, and you can see the weather is trying to push this little Aurora back to the ground. And then he's going to leave. There we go, just like that. And look at that! Lightning strikes! Lightning strikes are going to be a thing. So that means that if you have an outpost like that, and this is yours, you are going to really have to check out the maintenance of your outpost after a weather front, because let's say you're away, for example. You don't know what happens, right? You are sleeping, you know, you're at work, you're not playing the game, but your outpost is still there. And you know, there could have been a storm, there could have been a rainstorm, a thunderstorm, that could have been hit by lightning. You know, you come back and all of a sudden, right, this antenna that was providing you info or data, or maybe it was giving you, maybe it was a wind turbine that was giving power to your outpost. All of a sudden, it doesn't work as effectively as before. It doesn't work at all anymore, right? And that's because it was struck by lightning. So you're going to have to repair it or maintain it to make sure it works. I love this, you know, just making sure that your facility is just in good conditions because of these elements that are happening possibly at random times. Amazing. It lights up the trees nicely. Now, Parker here's got a very good point in the chat. Lighting lights up trees nicely. You guys know that we have fire technology in Star Citizen. Now, at the beginning, we were told that fires would only be in interiors, but it's also possible that fires may be happening on the floor. I would love to have a giant forest fire on the planet. And we could have, firefighting ships. You can have like a firefighting variant of an A2 bomber, but instead of dropping bombs, it drops a lot of water. That would be phenomenal, right? And it's something that we're going to see in other games. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is going to be bringing that kind of gameplay. And there could be, especially with this kind of tech, there'd be no reason why Star Citizen would not be giving this kind of gameplay, because it's the everyday game. It's the game that gives you everything you want to do. You're going to be able to do it in the game anyway. So why not being a firefighter if this is something that you find exciting when you play games? And not everybody wants to be a combat pilot. Not everybody wants to be involved in economy. There are going to be people who want to do other kinds of jobs. Firefighting is definitely something that's going to be exciting to do in the future. The people who want to be doctors, they can be doctors, right? People want to be farmers, we're going to be able to be farmers. So why not being able to be a firefighter as well and fight fires that are being caused by weather fronts and lightning like that. Now look at this here, and this is the reason why flying a ship in this kind of weather is not what you want to do, especially if you have a tiny little flimsy ship like an Aurora. Look at that Aurora here at the top left. It's going to go down just like that. And I was so mind-blown here. Did you also notice that lightning did strike the Zeus here that they are flying? And as we're gonna be going back inside the ship, there we go. We go finally out of the store. We can see the blue sky. There's light again, right? Finally, and that was super epic, I gotta say. I did not recognize the planet, but it kind of looks like it's because there's a lot of water out there. It could be Castra, or it could also be Pyro 3. But my guess is probably Castra that we looked at here. If you look at the HU, I don't think we see it anymore, right? But when it was struck by lightning, it was actually it actually lost its shields, and also the hull became red. So I suppose that if you have a bigger ship, then you can have stronger shields that are going to be more resistant to this kind of weather, but you're still not going to be invulnerable, right? You're still going to have to make sure that you don't get hit too many times, and you're going to have to get some repairs because the hull was pretty red after getting struck by lightning here. Not much turbulence here. Yeah, Parker, that's true. I did not notice that, but there should have been more turbulence. Flying inside that storm should have been a little bit more difficult, right?